I've got my glasses on and I still can't see frame focus, so let's just go with it. Welcome back to my tour of my non-fiction shelves. This is the third installment. We've done 0-hundreds and the Dewey Decimal System overview, which I will link. And then we did 100s, which is psychology. I can't remember. And today is 200s, which on my shelf starts here and goes all the way along and all the way down to here. Can you see that? Yes, you can. So I was actually shocked when I realized how many books were in this section, because I thought my 100s magic books were the most, but no, it's the 200s. And then I remembered that my undergrad degree was primarily medieval European religion, and this is the religion section. So I don't know why I was shocked. Anyway, let's get into the books. I'm going to ditch these glasses, fix the focus, hopefully, and we'll talk about books. Alrighty. Every time I do this, I run out of recording time because digital cameras, if you don't know, they only have a 30-minute record time thanks to EU law. So we best get moving. I'm also sitting on my feet, and that's not gonna work for long because I'm in my 40s. I can't do that stuff anymore. In the DDC system, the Dewey Decimal Classification Library System, 200 is religion. Covers, I've got it, my notes here, covers various aspects of religion, including its history, beliefs, practices, and the study of religious texts. Now, in that base 200 section, Mircea Eliade's The Sacred and the Profane, The Nature of Religion. This is from 1968. Well, the translation, because it's originally in French, 1968, and the call number on this is 200. 200.82. Oh, I didn't write down what these individual things are. 200.82 is Leona Dickinson and Pamela Dickey, Young Women and Religious Traditions. This is the third edition. This was a textbook for one of my uni subjects. 200.9, this is A.D. Lee, Pagans and Christians in Late Antiquity, a source book. A source book for history stuff, if you're not familiar, is where it's taken primary sources from a particular theme. The theme of this one is Pagans and Christians in Late Antiquity. And oh, someone's calling me. Go away. I don't want to speak to people. Takes those sources, puts them in translation, puts them in a book for history students and researchers. This was also a textbook for a uni subject. 202.3. Oh, I wish I'd got organised and worked out what each of the drill down numbers meant for you. They'll be in the magic that I do down here on the screen. This is Peter Marshall, Invisible Worlds, Death and Religion. No, start again. Peter Marshall, Invisible Worlds, Death, Religion and the Supernatural in England, 1500 to 1700. This is 202.3, and this one came out in 2017. I think I missed some years of books back there, but all the info will be down below. Let me swing back and get the next one. So that's all the base 200 section. The 210s is the Philosophy and Theory of Religion, which, according to my notes, explores philosophical and theoretical aspects of religion, such as the nature of God, religious experience, and religious ethics. I don't have anything in this 210 section. I do have heaps in the next one, which is 220, the Bible. Focuses on the Bible, its interpretation, study, and different versions, as well as related topics like biblical archaeology and biblical criticism. Biblical archaeology sounds cool. I don't have anything like that. But what I do have is this guy whose name is Welsh and I won't be able to pronounce it. Eyal, Poleg. I'm so sorry, that is so wrong. Approaching the Bible in medieval England. This looks so cool, and I've had it for so long on this shelf and haven't opened it. But I definitely want to get there. So this call number is 220.47 from 2013. 220.5, this is Adam Nicolson, When God Spoke English, The Making of the King James Bible. I feel like I got this for like $5 in a Booktopia sale. Once again, haven't read it. This one came out in 2003. Sounds really interesting. Oh, now a major BBC television program, it says here on the front. So maybe I should just watch that. I feel like now I've taken this big one out, the books are going to collapse. So this is the only copy of the Bible I have on my shelves. This is, it's heavy. The New Oxford Annotated Bible with Apocrypha, the New Revised Standard Version 4th edition from 2010. There is now a 5th edition. The call number on this one is 220.520. And this is the Bible, the New Revised Standard Version of the Bible. It has some introductory essays for each of the chapters, and it has some explanatory essays at the back for context of the creation of the Bible and the context of the time around, the 0000s. And this was the prescribed version of the Bible for some uni study that I did, which is why I own it. I am attempting to read the Bible. I'm still in Genesis. It's been 2 years. Don't fall. To my notes. The next section, 230, is on Christianity. It examines Christianity as a religion, including its beliefs, history, denominations, biographies of significant figures, and Christian practices. So the first one I have in here is from 2015. It's Janina, Ramirez, The Private Lives of the Saints, Power, Passion and Politics in Anglo-Saxon England. And the call number here is 235.209. I read Ramirez's newest book earlier this year called Femina, which was medieval women. And so I like the way that she writes. This one is older. Like I said, 2015. I haven't read it yet, but it sounds cool. In the 240 section is Christian Practice and Observance, which covers practical aspects of Christian faith, including worship, sacraments, prayer, liturgy, and Christian rituals. And the first one I have in this section is from 2008. It's called Looking Inward, Devotional Reading and a Private Self in Late Medieval England by Jennifer Bryan. Call number here is 242.09. And this one, what is this one about? Devotional reading. I did a lot of work on devotional reading and books created for the education of women, both in terms of their spiritual development, but also practical running a house kind of development. It was a massive genre in the early, late medieval, early modern period. More devotional reading is this one from 2017. Kathryn, Vulić, Susan Uselmann, C. Annette Grisé, Devotional Literature and Practice in Medieval English, Readers, Reading and Reception. This is a collection of, an edited collection of essays. And the call number here is 242.0942. From when I bought it, because academic books are so expensive, this is the most expensive book that I had bought at that time, just for funsies. And I haven't read it. I have not read a single word. So there's that. Virginia Reinburg, French Books of Hours, Making an Archive of Prayer, circa 1400 to 1600. This is from 2012 and the call number is 242.0944. This one, I think, it does have pictures, but they're in black and white. This is the way that Books of Hours, the culture of creating them for powerful and rich people, and the social capital that having a Book of Hour made for you, the social capital that it brought. Does that make sense? I feel like I haven't had enough chocolate to explain things well. Julian of Norwich, Revelations of Divine Love. This edition is from 2015, but Julian of Norwich lived in 1373 is a number given here on the blurb. She was an anchoress in Norwich, and that this is her Revelations translated from Middle English or maybe Latin. Depends who wrote it down. Just going to have a little looky-loo. I haven't read this before. Next is a book that fell off the back of a truck, and I would love to have a real copy of it because I really enjoyed this one. This is Holy Feast and Holy Fast by Carola Walker Bynum. This is about hang on, what's the full title? Holy Feast and Holy Fast, the religious significance of food to medieval women. The call number is 248.46, and it really explores holy anorexia and the way that women in particular would take control of their spiritual selves by restricting their food intake, and in the course of doing that, restricting calories and restricting liquid, go into like transcendental states where they could have visions. Potentially, not everyone did that, but holy anorexia is a whole thing in itself. Next, we have the 250s, which is Christian pastoral practice and religious orders. Addresses, my tongue is in knots today. Addresses topics related to Christian ministry, pastoral care, religious orders, and monasticism. And so in here I have Nicolson. Oh, I love this book so much. I got it for Christmas in 2022 and I'm so excited to read it. Nicolson, Going to Church in Medieval England. The call number here is 254.5094, and I imagine it does what it says on the tin. I'm looking forward to getting into this one. Next, I have a small translated version of The Rule of Benedict by Benedict. The Rule of Saint Benedict. This copy is, the call number is 255.106, and this is, if you've heard of Benedictine monasteries, this is basically the rules that Saint Benedict laid down for the function of those monasteries. 260, Christian Organisation, Social Work and Worship. Explores the organisational aspects of Christianity, including church administration, social work, missions, and the history of Christian worship. My feet are numb. I'm sitting on them. This one I picked up for like $1 in a library sale. It looks ridiculous. Larry Buttrose, Tales of the Popes from Eden to El Dorado, an Infamous History. This is from 2009, and the call number is 262.13. I don't think I will ever read this. It's a self-published little thing. But I couldn't resist when it said popes. I'm going to have pins and needles so bad. We are flying through these, but having said that, we're only halfway along the top shelf. There's heaps to go. 270 is the history of Christianity, and if anywhere on my shelf is going to have books, it is History of Christianity. I've spent a lot of time studying this in my undergrad. History of Christianity provides a historical overview of Christianity, including its origins, development, key events, and influential figures. This book, if you are at all interested in the history of the Christian church in Europe, highly, and beyond Europe, highly recommend this chunky tome. Christianity, the First 3,000 Years by Diarmaid MacCulloch. This came out in 2009. The call number is 270. I listened to this and it was really, some academic works are narrated by the most terrible narrators. But this one was really interesting, really listenable. I really, really enjoyed it. If you're interested, I think that 30 or 40 hours or something. And I read it twice. 270.1. This is Henry Chadwick's The Early Church. It's part of the Penguin History of the Church. This is a revised edition from 1993. This was recommended as a uni text, so that's probably why I have read it. Story of emergent Christianity from the Apostolic Age to the dividing of the ways between the Greek East and the Latin West. From 2013, with a call number of 270.2092, we have Miles Hollingsworth's St. Augustine of Hippo in Intellectual Biography. This also I picked up in a Booktopia $5 sale. I have not read it. Augustine doesn't interest me that greatly. He had some things to say. Excuse me, cat? But a lot of what he had to say was, woe is me, I want to have sex and I can't. I'm sure he had other things to say and I would know that if I read about him, wouldn't I? 270.3, this is R.W. Southern, who is a big name in the 70s history of the church, academic works. This is Western Society in the Church in the Middle Ages. This is another one in the Penguin History of the Church. What does this cover? The 8th to the 16th century. Still in the 2 sevens, we have 271.7913. This is Malcolm Barber and Keith Bate, The Templars. This is another source book, sources selected and translated and annotated, which was useful for my uni subject on the Crusades. What are the proper name of the Templars? The Knights of the Temple of Solomon of Jerusalem. All this stuff was given to the Hospitallers when they were dissolved. Heresy and Authority in Medieval Europe. The call number here is 273.5. This one is from 1980, and this one is a textbook introducing... No, it's a source book about heretics. I've highlighted some of these. Look at that. I used to be a book highlighter. Now I'm just writing in pencil, which I have also done in this one. Next is 273.6, Peter Biller and Anne Hudson, Heresy and Literacy, 1000 to 1530 from 1934. I haven't read this. I bought this off my friend Kathleen, who passed away, and this was in her collection. So now it's in my collection and will remind me of her. Sounds really interesting though. Did the increase in literacy and people wanting to be able to read the Bible and interpret the Bible for themselves increase heresy, or did the spread of heresy increase literacy, or both? One day I'll know because I'll have read the book. Malcolm Lambert, big name in heresy work as well. Medieval heresy, popular movements from the Gregorian Reform to the Reformation. This is the 3rd edition from 2002, and the call number is 273.6. Oh my god, there's so many here. Peter Brown, The Rise of Western Christendom, Triumph and Diversity from AD 200 to 1000, 10th Anniversary Revised Edition. This is a textbook. I haven't read it because I had to drop that subject. R.N. Swanson, Religion and Devotion in Europe, circa 1215 to circa 1515. I picked this up from Better World Books, it looks like. And where did it come from? The Franciscan Life Library in Winona, Minnesota. There you go. The call number here is 274, and this was published in 1995. This one I got so much use out of in my undergrad degree. Medieval Popular Religion, 1000 to 1500. A Reader, 2nd edition, edited by John Shinners. The call number here is 274.03, and this is a collected source book as well. In history, you need to use examples from the time to support your arguments. So something like this, which was useful over many subjects, was really worth the investment. It wasn't a textbook. I found it and I wanted it. Oh no, now I'm stuck on the, can you see here? I'm stuck on the bar of the bookshelf. And when I pull these ones out, all the books will fall. Oh, this one's heavy too. This is Ewan Cameron, The European Reformation, 2nd edition. It's from 2012, and the call number here is 274.06. I've got lots of highlighting tabs in here, and this is what it says on the tin, overview of the European Reformation, religious Reformation. We have Bede's The Ecclesiastical History of the English People. The original was published in 731. This edition translated in 1969. The call number is 274.2. One day I will read it. Maybe. The Stripping of the Altars by Eamon Duffy. This is a classic that I have not read. I just hit myself in the face. It's a heavy book. The call number is 254.2. What? The call number is 274.205. This is from 1992, and it is about the Reformation in England, and the stripping of the altars is when Cromwell and the King Henry got their hands on monasteries and churches and took their money and their stuff. Sounds good. I'll read it one day. It's time for coffee. That's going to stop recording in a sec. We are down to the 280s. I only have one book in this section, which is Christian Denominations and Sects Focuses on the different denominations and sects within Christianity, including their beliefs, practices, history, and notable figures. Oxford Dictionary of Popes. This is a handy look up, see which pope lived when, or which pope in order. I think these go in order of year. Yes. So you can see who was next as Pope. It's basically Wikipedia, but in your book form. Okay, the rest of the books in the 200 collection are obviously the 290. That's the only section left, which is other religions. So up until this point, we've only been dealing with Christianity, which tells you one of the flaws of the Dewey Decimal System is that it's written by a white guy in America in the late 19th century, I think. And so it's very white, very European, very Christian-centric. So now we have all the other religions, plus various religions apart from Christianity, including Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and others, covering their beliefs, practices, sacred texts, and key aspects. So you can see why there might be a few books in a collection that are just in the 290s. To begin, I have another one I've adopted from Better World Books. Where did this one come from? Oh, there's an imprint. Oh my goodness, look. It's got borrowing cards in it. I love that. The first one was borrowed in 2003 and the last one in 2010. That is gorgeous. The library, Eastern Baptist Theological Cemetery in Philadelphia. Anyway, that's all beside the point. The book actually is Carolyn Walker Bynum, Stephen Harrell, and Paula Richmond, Gender and Religion on the Complexity of Symbols. Obviously, this book has lost its dust jacket over the time. This is from 1986, and the call number is 291.1. We got a bit distracted there, didn't we? Next, from 1998, I have Ivan G. Marcus, Rituals of Childhood, Jewish Acculturation in Medieval Europe. Acculturation. In this novel interpretation of the initiation rite of Jewish boys beginning their religious schooling, Marcus presents a new anthropological historical approach to Jewish culture and acculturation in medieval Christian Europe. Alrighty. This one I really enjoyed. This is Elizabeth Baumgarten's Practicing Piety in Medieval Ashkenaz, Men, Women and Everyday Religious Observance. This is from 2014 and the call number is 296.7094. I did some research on the way that Jewish medieval women and Christian medieval women expressed their faith through everyday actions. And now we move away from organized religion entirely. This is Starhawk, The Spiral Dance, a rebirth of the ancient religion of the great goddess. This is the revised edition, 10th anniversary edition from 1989. The call number here is 299. And it's about the Wicca resurgence of intersection with feminism in the 70s. 299.21, Stephanie Daly, Myths from Mesopotamia, the Creation, the Flood, Gilgamesh and Others. Collection of myths from the area between the great rivers Tigris and Euphrates. Says the blurb. In the last couple of years there's been a new translation of Gilgamesh that came out that I'm really keen to read. The only thing I know about the story of Gilgamesh is from Star Trek The Next Generation. So be interesting to read it. I have not read this. It was a prescribed text for uni and then I had to drop the subject. 299.94, we're running out of numbers. This is Scott Cunningham's Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner. This is from 1998 and again in that New Agey Wicca feminism movement of the 70s and 80s. Lots of things about the theory of Wicca. I was massively into the idea of Wicca as a teenager, and then the more study that I have done on ritual magic and the supernatural and medieval Christianity, I can see where they got their ideas. And I love that. I respect it more, actually. And we come to the end of the 200s of my shelf with something I'm so keen to read. This is Miracles of Our Own Making, A History of Paganism by Liz Williams. Now, I feel like this is paganism in Britain, British Isles. The call number here is 299.94. And I think I might bump this up the list because I'm so keen. I'm so keen. It looks so cool. You can definitely see where my interests lie. So that was a wander through what is possibly the biggest section of my non-fiction books. It may rival my cookbooks actually, but that's a story for another day. Don't forget that with any system that you choose to put your library in, whether it's DDC or Library of Congress or just Vibes, that's totally up to you. Put things where you want. This is just where me and ChatGPT have decided in collaboration where I think they should go. I can see my cat slowly making her way up the shelves to eat my plant. Let me show you. What are you doing, cheeky one? Can you see her over there? You trying to eat Mama's plant? Oh, you're so zoomed out. I can see that my camera battery is flashing frantically, so I'm going to turn this off. Thank you for hanging out with me. We will do more of this again. Subscribe so that you see it. Bye.